Assalamu alaikum.
Salah.
That's all I know.
Malaikum Salah. That's
peace to the world. Yeah, man. Seeing more and more limbless children. It's been great the last 6 weeks or so since Israel broke the ceasefire. It's been fun. Got to start off with that cheery news. I'm sorry, man. Politics. Who said it? You might not care about politics, but politics is going to care about you. So, my thing is, if I don't express solidarity with parents of small children who are having their limbs blown off or their heads blown off, then when that happens to me somewhere down the road, which it always could, who am I to say, you should come help us? That's all. It's the golden rule. It's the only part of the Bible I agree with. Do unto others as you would like done unto you, not for moral reasons, for purely practical reasons, self-interested reasons. But man, if everybody lived according to that, I promise you, we'd have a much better world with a lot less war.
Since you brought that up,
simple.
Since you brought that up in that context, the chat was asking about Cardinal Pizzaballa. Have you heard of him? Last week,
I just did. Did he get the job?
No. I mean, that's
right.
Starts May 7th, but he's.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, the conclave starts May 7th.
I don't follow Catholic news. I'm not.
Yeah, I know.
On top of Catholic news, I rely on you. That's why you're here. Yeah.
It's like, it's like when a king in England gets crowned. It happens like a couple times a lifetime if you're lucky. So might as well.
What are Pizzaballa's politics?
The thing is, he's the guy for Jerusalem. He's the cardinal in charge of everything happening in Jerusalem.
Oh.
He offered himself
as
in exchange for hostages that Hamas was holding to stop the IDF and the war. He's like, let's stop this war. I'll exchange myself for Hamas to release some hostages, especially children, back to Israel. He has accused the IDF of shooting some of his congregation snipers.
Oh.
He has been very critical of the IDF for basically bombing the Holy Land and making it almost unlivable in the most holy sites. The traditionalists like him, the more conservative guys like him, because he does mass facing Orientum, facing the altar, not facing the congregation. Damn. So there's some hope for traditional Latin mass from him.
Damn.
But and with how Pope Francis dealt with the children in Gaza, constantly calling in on them, the special relationship he had with that area, he has sort of risen as a potential lead candidate. And traditionalists are happy and excited about him, and some progressives might be able to get behind him because of the Palestinian cause.
God damn. This is the latest. This is today's piece of evidence that Israel, as I said in a tweet that went viral, Israel is the rock upon which MAGA will break apart. Because much of MAGA is traditionalist Catholics. Jack Posobiec is their leader. Mm-hmm. It's a big thing. Steve Bannon is their other leader. I mean, it's right. I mean, maybe it's half of, at least of the leadership of MAGA. I would say it's a good half or something. It's a big chunk.
Mm-hmm.
Plus just right wing, like serious right wing. I don't mean dumbass, right wing tard politics, but like the serious right wingers who actually think, like Bannon and Posobiec. I gotta say, it's a big chunk, probably something like half. I gotta go turn off a switch over there because this thing is driving me crazy. It's going to take me 20 seconds. Can you tell me again? What's his name?
Cardinal Pizzaballa.
From
Believe
where?
it or not, it's an Italian
Jerusalem.
name. Yeah, Jerusalem.
Right. So how's a Guido in Jerusalem? What's going on there?
I mean, he's ethnically Italian. I think you get assigned wherever your diocese is, and Yeah, especially the Holy Land. That's a big administrative position because you have to maintain all the sites. Yeah,
that whole Catholic imperialist thing. I forgot about that.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Right, conquer the world at the tip of a sword. Yeah, that whole thing. Not always. Sometimes they just told the story, and people were like, "Yes, we'll join your church and be enslaved by you." And I mean that. A lot of people willingly, often enthusiastically, entered slavery to the Catholic Church. Clearly, guys, some of them fought and died to avoid slavery with the Catholic Church. But we know this. I mean, same with slavery in the United States. Many people were slaves were enthusiastic about their lot in life. They said so. I mean,
I think a lot of that is confused with the role that the Spanish government played. I think a lot of those stories, you can put that on the heels of imperialist Spain using the church as a subsidiary to accomplish something they were doing. I think the church.
No. But come on, don't you want to say that a lot? I don't know the numbers, but if you wanted to say most, I wouldn't argue. Many, maybe most conversions in Latin America were enthusiastic. No.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's what I mean. Like they told the story, and people said that's a great story. I sign up.
Yeah.
And they were willing to be subjugated in ways in which we would think are subjugation, but to many people, it's not subjugation. It's part of your, what's it called? There's a better word for hierarchy. Anyway, your sort of position, your position in the social order, which in other cultures, guys, in non-Western, non-Enlightenment, non-modern cultures, which is most cultures on Earth, they don't have this idea that if you're somehow subservient, it's bad.
Yeah.
Right? There's hierarchy, of course. Like that is kind of one of the main differences between modern and pre-modern. Is modernity has been hostile to hierarchy in a way. It's been aimed at a classless society with an intellectual leadership. Okay, so like a two-class society, but versus the pre-modern, which is a very intricate, Baroque, one might say, set of hierarchies in which there's multiple different classes, castes, groups, subgroups, each with its own assigned category, duties, obligations, rights, land holdings. I mean, all of it. Sure, yeah, that's exactly what medieval Europe and much of the rest of the world has been and still is to this day. And the people, by and large, not all, but the by and large in those places have been like they are in all. People accommodate to where they live. This is kind of generally speaking, except for us weirdos and radicals. But we're not most people. That's why we do a podcast. Mm-hmm. Most people are very comfortable with accepting their assigned lot in life. This is true. I mean, even in America, guys. I mean, how many of your friends are totally happy and content with like working in a cubicle all day and then watching Netflix at night, and that's the end of it?
Yeah, I think most people, especially in the West, practically accept that fate, but they tell themselves certain lies. They tell themselves certain grand stories that make them. But
no, I think they just watch Marvel movies.
That too, yeah. Marvel
to
movie.
Get the grandiose fantasies.
Eat the sloth and
get channeled.
Their DoorDash.
I don't. It's man. I don't like it. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah. Jonathan Haidt talked about this in that he called certain values emerging from Western, educated, industrial, rational, democratic societies. And he had that acronym as WEIRD. And
which it is.
It is, yeah.
It's super weird. Mm-hmm. It again, the percentage of the Earth's population since its inception.
Yeah.
Meaning all human beings who've ever lived, the percentage of those people, all human beings who've ever lived who have believed in those values, Western democratic liberal values, those of, Western Europe, like I would say half of Western Europe and then half of the United States and Australia, that's a little tiny, less than 1%, like way less, a tiny percentage of shit. Most people, including the slaves themselves, as I just said, most people, including slaves themselves, historically in every damn country, have believed that slavery was good or natural or just the way things are, and they had no problem with it. Mm-hmm. None. Like zero systemic critique. You can read diary after interview after interview after interview with ex-slaves from the Deep South in the WPA narratives. Like they did 2,500 of them, thousands. It was several thousand interviews with ex-slaves. And this is in my book, Renegade History. You can look it up, but just look it up online. A majority were like, they loved their masters. They thought that slavery was correct for them. They thought that they were an inferior race. They believed that they used the N-word and said that N's need to be slaves. A majority, not all. There were absolutely slave rebels, slave revolutionaries, slaves who were completely opposed to the idea, the system, of course, but a majority not only were not opposed to it, they embraced it, as I just said. And a solid majority of slaves in the South in America expressed positive feelings about their masters and mistresses, their owners. What are you going to do with that? That's not because black people are biologically inferior. My ancestors did the same shit with the British. My Irish ancestors, Scots-Irish ancestors, they were accommodationists with the British Empire.
You know what piece of Black history is going viral right now?
What's that?
Interviews of the quote talented 10th or elite educated Black folk around the 40s and 50s in northern cities, holding neighborhood meetings and discussing that poor Southern Blacks are migrating north into their cities and what they think about that. And to see well-dressed, highly educated Black people talking in British accents about how they don't want certain people moving into their neighborhood and driving down the property value. That's becoming a real red pill for a lot of people on Twitter right now.
I've taught about this. I've written about it. I think, is there a piece in Renegade about this? But I certainly taught about it. No, yeah, for sure. Yeah, the assimilationist movement, which was the civil rights movement, always. The civil rights movement, which began really in the 19th century with Frederick Douglass and then W.B. Du Bois, who you're referencing, the talented 10th, and then moving into the 1950s and King, et cetera, all the way up through Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton. That entire lineage, 100-year lineage of the civil rights movement, and these are, of course, who did I just name, right? The greatest heroes in America, in American history. These are the people you're supposed to worship more than anyone. Every damn single one of them, and this is documented extensively in A Renegade History of the United States through several chapters. Every single one of them was absolutely for full first-class citizenship rights and inclusion and acceptance for all African Americans in the United States of America forever. Great. Meaning they were completely opposed to segregation of every form, but especially legal segregation. I know I have some actual racist followers, but I think the vast majority of us don't like legal segregation of any kind. So great. And but the thing is, this is all that's ever talked about with them. But for those, they were great, and they accomplished that. They actually eliminated, for complicated reasons, segregation in the United States. There is no legal segregation of any kind in the United States since the 1965 Civil Rights Act, which was brought about by the civil rights movement agitating for a century. Great. What no one tells you is that from Frederick Douglass through W.B. Du Bois and Martin Luther King and Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton, every single one of them was so hostile to Black culture that they sounded like the Ku Klux Klan when they were talking about how Black people lived, behaved. Barack Obama is part of this. Go look at any speech that Barack Obama ever gave to a Black audience, any one of them. It's incredible. I did the research. I looked. I did a search. Every single time he spoke to a Black audience, usually a Black church, which he did like couple times a year when he was president. And he did it, I think, before he was president. But when he was president, 1 or 2 times a year, something like that, he would give a big talk to a Black church. And every single one of those, he changed. He was no longer Barry from Hawaii. He was Barack from Chicago. So he changed his accent, became Black, even though he lived around entirely white and Samoan people growing up, and Indonesian and Indonesian people growing up. He had no experience with Black Americans whatsoever. He learned it all from TV and especially watching basketball games. But all of them, from Frederick Douglass to Barack Obama, every single one of them has hated Black culture. Everything that's distinctive about Black culture, they've hated it, scolded Black people for engaging in it. And I mean, I don't mean the really stupid bad shit that the culture has been producing of late. I don't mean like twerking on ambulances at, riot scenes, which we've had in Oakland in Juneteenth. I mean, the really incredible, majestic, culture-changing, epic, world culture-changing productions of Black American culture that it's unparalleled in world history. I'm sorry. There's nothing that's been more powerful, popular, effective, seductive than Black American popular culture. And you can just go to any country in the world and turn on the fucking TV and you'll see some Black people doing shit. Every single one of the greatest civil rights leaders, every single one of them. You talked about British accents. Yeah. Go watch Ralph Abernathy. If you know anything about the civil rights movement, he was King's lieutenant. He was super famous go watch him talk. He sounds like Douglas Murray. He sounds like some posh guy from Cambridge, British accent sounding. Bayard Rustin, the same thing. One of King's top advisors, major famous leader of the civil rights movement, very British affect. A. Philip Randolph was a Shakespearean actor before he became a civil rights leader. One of the most important and famous of the 20th century, sounded like a British dude. So they were all, my point there is that your point was, I think, that they were all arch assimilationists, which is fine. That's a great strategy for getting full civil rights, which is what they got. 1964, civil rights, 1965 Voting Rights Act, or the other way around, the two acts of 64 and 65, they achieved those things. They got it. And since then, they've not only been treated like full first-class citizens, they've been treated like full first-class citizens with preferential treatment. In many cases, not in all spheres, but in many spheres in American society, they have been given preferential treatment to the detriment of people who look like you and me. It's just a fact. I have the receipts, as they say. But anyway, so clearly I'm not like some woke idiot who just thinks everything Black people do is awesome. I fucking hate most of what the culture they call it, has become in the last 20 years. 21st century Black culture has, to me, looked like a steep drop. I like a few trap music songs, but like generally speaking, the whole thing just seems like a slide into bad nihilism and just, anyway, homogeneity and lack of creativity. But anyway, nonetheless, I mean, my God, if you have ever liked rock and roll, if you have ever liked stand-up comedy, most stand-up comedy, if you've ever used a slang term, there are some people out there, and these are people who are Republicans, by the way. If you say no to all these, and I know you're out there. I've seen this. Look, I know that it exists.
Just because that doesn't mean.
Then your best friends have been Frederick Douglass, W.B. Du Bois, Martin Luther King, Rosa Parks is another one, and Barack Obama, because they all were trying to put Black people in the closet and keep us from having jazz. Really, I'm not kidding. They were all anti. W.E.B. Du Bois wrote a screed against jazz. He thought that everybody, and Black people in particular, should only listen to, I think it was Bach and Mozart. Same, all of them. Martin Luther King wrote a regular weekly column in Ebony magazine, which every Black person basically in the country read, in which he talked about how Black people should get rid of rock and roll, which they invented because it was the devil's music. That's what he said. He went on and on about, with like, he sounded like not just a Klansman, but like a puritanical Bible thumping preacher Klansman, railing against, the sins of the modern world and the pleasures of the flesh. And sounds like St. Augustine, your boy. Sounds like the original Christian ascetics, which, again, Martin Luther King and most of these people I'm talking about, most of the civil rights leaders were Christian, or at least raised in the church. So it makes sense. I think it was legitimate. I mean, I think it was authentic. I think this is how they really felt even though King couldn't abide by his own preaching and fucked every woman he came across, but publicly, and as Martin Luther King, he was St. Paul. He was a perfect ascetic figure. But the target, though, was not the culture of the Jews of ancient Antioch. It was the culture of the present Negroes in contemporary America. So, like, would you want them to have been successful? Would you have wanted the civil, this is for you and then the audience, like, think about it. Would you have wanted the civil rights, all of them, just take my word for it, Ida B. Wells, like every single one of them spoke and wrote extensively about how they hated juke joints and blues music and black dialect, like all the things we love, some of the most loved pieces of American culture, globally loved pieces of American culture, major pieces of America that we all fucking, not all, but most of us use every day and more, right? How often do we use black slang, black dialect, black gestures, black something? I mean, how often do we consume something, some cultural artifact, some cultural product that is traced right back to the plantation? And I don't mean just like hip hop. I'm talking about rock music, rock and roll, and all its derivatives that you find on Spotify. Most Spotify songs are somehow derivative from the plantation. You can find absolute roots to most things in popular music that go back to the plantation. Anyway, it's a good question that the civil rights leaders raised. Like, should we get rid of black culture entirely and just assimilate entirely into the white culture, which was fucking boring? Puritanism, Victorianism in the 19th century, my God, in America, yikes. But that's what they were calling for. And so if they had been successful, black people would all be like Barack Obama. And they'd all be wearing the perfect business suits and speaking the King's English and reluctantly playing basketball and hiding it. You know, I mean, like, I don't know, some of us, some right-wingers I've noticed really do not care whatsoever about any portion of black culture. But this is why you're the co-host of this show, because, you know, you're an Afro-Cuban percussionist. But take it away, Michael. What do you think about this rich topic for you?
Just because I happen to enjoy, just because I'm a man of culture and I happen to enjoy the arts.
No, you're a man of the world. You're a citizen of the world.
I mean, I've been in Indiana like 99+% of my existence, so that doesn't mean that I don't.
This is a person who knows the name of every Cuban musician of the last 50 years.
But no, that doesn't mean.
Especially if they're black. If they're black Cubans, then you know, like, you not only know, you can play their drum lines, probably, right? Anyway.
That doesn't mean that I don't want nerds to be in charge. That doesn't mean that I think that boring people, pencil pushers, are good administrators.
Smart.
And I think the problem with where black culture has gone in the last 20, 30 years plus, especially, has to do with the fact that it's no longer a counterculture. It's the culture. And it is an imperialist export. It is, like Barack Obama puts out his favorite playlist of hip hop and rock and roll music every year. And everybody on that list is, for all intents and purposes, a CIA plan.
Michael Weimer, you fucking genius. God damn it. Okay, we got it.
Yeah. And so, that's where the nihilism comes from, especially from, like, you know, a little kid.
Black culture has become I said it myself without even knowing what I was talking about. Black culture has become the culture. And the proof, as you just said, is that even MAGA does some black culture stuff, right? Even they kind of put out a little hip hop vibe into the world. But, like, certainly with Obama and forward, Clinton forward, there's been the Democratic Party, the establishment, the institutions, academic departments are devoted to hip hop music. Like, go look at any, which I'm in general fine with, in favor of. I don't like the way they've done it, but it has become. Princeton University has multiple, I know them personally, multiple professors in their African American Studies department that write about hip hop. Cornell West, who was the leader of that department and has been the leader of every single AFAM department in the Ivy League, put out a rap album of his own when he was the chair of either Princeton or Harvard or Yale or one of them in the 90s, I think it was. Yeah. So no, you're right. It's become the establishment. You're right. It's no longer the counterculture since about the 90s, 2000s, somewhere in there. God damn it. And when you seize power, and especially within a global empire, because the State Department started even using hip hop in its propaganda, Voice of America stuff, its foreign aid stuff, its propaganda emissions into these other countries. They've not extensively, because hip hop is still pretty radioactive in terms of, its gross violations of family values. But nonetheless, the State Department even has used the many branches of the fucking government of the United States of America have used hip hop to advance its own agendas and policies. But that didn't start. I remember this because I wrote about it in Salon back in about 2000, early 25, 6, 7. You can look at Beyonce, look me up, Salon, Beyonce, Thaddeus Ross. Yeah, I wrote about how like hip hop, black music was subverting all these authoritarian regimes around the world, which is the half of the subject of my forthcoming book. But that the CIA, the State Department, the foreign policy establishment, the American government generally was still hostile, basically, officially to hip hop. Remember PMRC? Is that what it's called? Tipper Gore's thing?
80s. Yeah.
In the 80s and then the 90s too. Lynn Cheney, that's what they were doing. Cheney's mother, Dick's wife, was the head of this one back in the 80s and 90s with Tipper Gore. It was a censorship campaign. This is why we have labels on, or had labels on CDs, and I guess still today on digital music, I guess, right? They're still labeling because of that.
That's still explicit labeling. Yeah.
Lyrics, but they were like outright hostile to all sorts of counterculture. Just clearly, I mean, they settled for like putting labels on our CDs, but they really, Cheney and Gore, etc., but meaning the establishment was totally officially hostile to the whole thing. And Al Sharpton led marches protesting in front of Universal Records and Capitol Records and Bad Boy Records in the 80s and 90s, protesting against hip hop because it was misogynistic and puts black people in a bad light. Which true, sort of, except that every white boy in America wants to be exactly like those rappers. Not every white boy who's not like on 4chan.
No, the ones on 4chan too.
Oh, right, exactly. Sorry, my bad.
They
call each other the N-word all the time. Exactly, my bad.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. I mean, it's almost universal among white boys. When I hear my son talk to his friends and he doesn't know I'm listening, it's like, am I like walking through East Oakland right now? Am I at the liquor store in East Oakland right now? Like all right, let's do the news, man.
Yeah.
There's no black people in Ukraine. That was a Gil Scott-Heron song.
There are no black people in Ukraine.
That could have been a Gil Scott-Heron song. Like, why y'all paying attention to this bullshit? There's no black people in Ukraine. Mm-hmm. There's black people in Israel, though.
Do you want to talk about the Ukraine talks, where they're headed? How Trump has called out Putin for the attacks on Ukraine. It seems that he's souring on the deals. He met with Zelensky in the Vatican, had another beautiful, iconic photo.
Okay. I mean, so we all now know that the Trump administration is generally incompetent. It wasn't just the first term because they were being subverted, which is what I thought.
They're still being subverted, though. They're still
by what? His entire administration is staffed solely by loyalists.
Yeah, but you got the
Did you see what Pam Bondi gave him a blowjob during the press conference today? Did you see that? Like she just got under the table and started filleting the president. It was really weird. It was like Mussolini shit. She was like, "You're the greatest president of all time. It's just incredible what you've accomplished. You're the best." And then JD Vance then got on his knees too, and he's like, and he starts dissing past presidents, which I don't care about, but I'm just saying, like, this is a catastrophe. And I don't see this administration. I can't see how it's going to be 4 years of this because the wheels are coming off. They can't do stuff. and they're doing stuff that is so grossly unconstitutional that even the Trump-packed Supreme Court is ruling against him unanimously, and even like everyone's against him except for Trump loyalists and Michael Weimer. Like there's no one like liberals, leftists, of course, libertarians at this point, like all of them. Certainly all the neocons who are now liberals are showing that they're actually liberals, but everybody, I mean, it's just, but giant chunks of his own base are like, you can't disappear. You can't disappear 2-year-olds, dude.
I don't know.
You can't disappear their parents. And no,
you're saying giant chunks of his own base. I've only seen coastal elites worry about this stuff. I haven't seen his
own voting base of the 75 million, 80 million, whatever it was, 75, 80 million of those people, his voters, not the hardcore base. No, it's a cult. We have to acknowledge this at this point. These people, right? There's cultish behavior among the MAGA base. Doesn't mean that, dude. I've been defending those motherfuckers for 10 years now. Okay. Mm-hmm. Publicly, I lost every single liberal friend I ever had from it. You can look up my Twitter feed from, I do think the election was stolen in 2020. I think the J6ers, basically all of them, should have been exonerated immediately. I think it's a grotesque spectacle of holding political prisoners. I think the J6 was mostly an FBI operation. And I had Brandon Caserta on my goddamn show, who was the victim of almost the identical FBI operation in Michigan with the alleged Gretchen Whitmer kidnapping plot, which he was put in jail for a year and a half and then completely exonerated because it was completely an FBI operation. 3/4 of the guys who were in the van, who were driving to Gretchen Whitmer's house to do whatever to her, were FBI agents or informants. We know this. The Ray Epps thing, huge smokescreen. We know dude was working for the feds, but it's not just him. We know this. The feds have been working on that for... Anyway, I can go on and on about my pro-Trump cred. Basically, I never said anything critical about the dude for about 6-7 years. I only defended him and defended MAGA. And I watched Steve Bannon's War Room, and I talked about this all the time. People who followed me know this. I watched it every single day. It was my morning routine. And I loved it because it was actual opposition. This was actual opposition, actual rebellion. MAGA in opposition is way better than MAGA in power. Just like the left, just like socialists and Marxists, they're way better when they're in opposition. Then they're kind of cool. You can hang out with them. They're like, oh yeah, anti-war here, like police brutality there, great stuff when they're in opposition. But when they hold power, it just starts to look like any other regime, which is, a lesson we could all learn about the fucking state, guys. Stop merging your identity with these political movements, especially if you want to take state power. Once they take state power, you got Russia 1917. You got Cuba 1960. I mean, it's not good. Even if it's a right-wing conservative thing, it has never looked good once they take power. They look cool and sexy and radical, and Che Guevara riding his motorcycle across South America. Sexy, man. Fighting the power, which he was during that time. But as soon as dude took power, he put all the gays in prison. And he outlawed rhythm and blues. People don't know that. Che Guevara was anti-black racist, but he was one of these that I've talked about across the world. One of the first things he and Fidel did was outlaw black music because Cubans in 1960, 61 were loving that shit, like everybody was. And it was not about the revolution. It was not about communism and socialism and serving the nation and being a good proletarian. It was about having fun and partying, as was gay culture. And everybody should watch, what's that incredible book and movie about the gay dissident in Cuba at that time? It got put in the prison that was reserved for gays and other cultural dissidents, Before Dawn, something like that. God, great movie. Anyway, That's what's happening with MAGA. MAGA's not communist, I know. Right, different ideology, but they were revolutionaries who sought state power, state control. And as soon as they got it, on January, what was it, 21st? It's been almost entirely a nightmare. Kind of a nightmare. I mean, okay. Like, yeah, fewer people are coming across the border, which means that by and large, we have fewer gardeners and day laborers and babysitters. And yeah, a few fewer criminals, but like, as we've said and I've shown, American-born citizens are more violent, more criminal, more likely to commit murder than undocumented illegal immigrants. Of course, because illegal immigrants know that if law enforcement ever gets a whiff of them, they're fucked. And so they are extra careful and cautious. And if you've ever lived in a major city, which I think most MAGA have not, you've been around them, you've seen how they operate. They're very quiet. They're very quiet because they understand that. I just walked by a crew, all of them spoke zero English and all Spanish right down the road, who were doing a roof, redoing a roof. And I was like, looking, I was like, clearly you guys must be illegal to some extent. And they were just working their asses off and speaking softly in Spanish to each other. And that's the like 90+% of illegal immigrants. That's what they goddamn do. And as I said, I've employed a couple of them. I mean, that's all they goddamn do. They take buses across cities because they can't drive a car to go work at a job. They'll take a bus for like an hour and a half across a city like LA or San Francisco to work at a job in which they take care of someone else's house and they get paid $10 an hour. That's like how most of the wealthy families in West Los Angeles and the Upper West Side of New York operate. I know because I used to be among that crew. That's exactly what they do. They all employ Salvadoran nannies and housekeepers and gardeners and landscapers, like all of them, or West Indian. They're from Haiti or they're from Jamaica. They're from Belize, like all of them. The American upper class almost depends on that third world immigrant labor force, but you know, that's good. It's good. That means they get freedom. You're going to be like, oh, because they're rich and because they live on the Upper West Side, they shouldn't have that cheap labor.
Again, I think this is just like, this is Trump's most popular issue. When you're talking about, I think we should talk about this in relation to the Canadian elections, for example.
Yeah.
So yeah, there is this idea. Yeah, I know. Canadian domestic politics. Oh,
he is. No, Carney is sexy.
Carney?
Like if yeah, Mark, right? Mark Carney, who just won.
Yeah, Mark Carney.
Prime Minister.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jeez, he's a talented politician. I'm just talking about his political talent. Like he's kind of like he's like a middle-aged white Obama, but better. Like he's gonna. And you could see when he gave his acceptance speech, the women behind him on stage, the middle-aged women on stage, like are so in love with him. It's kind of hard to watch, but I get it. And that's who wins political power in this country, is the people who win the middle-aged women. And that's where Trump has failed, by the way.
Well,
that's where Trump, that's why the Trump revolution is not permanent. It's because he didn't win the women over. He didn't win the middle-aged women over. No, they still hate his guts and want to.
He still has the policy of scaring the hose. But the way that the Canadian election is being spun right now is, you know, there's a huge scandal with Trudeau. He's incredibly unpopular. His own party forces him out. Universal popular sentiment against him. Pierre Poilievre is up 25% when all this goes down. And then all of a sudden he blew this lead, lost to Mark Carney, and it's because Donald Trump inserted himself into Canadian politics. There's a reaction that the rest of the world is having. They don't like Trump's brashness. They don't like his brand of things. The rest of the world hates him, apparently, or at least definitely the liberal Anglophile Western world doesn't like him. and certain galvanizing statements like we're going to make Canada the 51st state. The tariff policies triggered a ethno-nationalism inside the Canadians that see themselves as outside of the United States better than those backwards people down south.
Yeah.
And that's what happened. I think it's more complicated than that. I think what happened was Pierre Poilievre, or however you pronounce his last name, abandoned the immigration issue. And then, yeah.
I think that's right. I think it's Poilievre.
Poilievre, yeah.
I think so. Yep.
He seemed to say that he wanted to guarantee Indian immigration by the hundreds of thousands into Canada.
That was after Trump fucked him.
Yeah.
By calling Canada the 51st state. Because he understood. I think that's how it went down, isn't it? That Poilievre understood at that moment that Trump sank his candidacy when he said that.
Well,
and that he had to become an enemy of Trump. He had to at that moment because everybody in Canada hated that.
But
clearly, and that's why my boy Carney, who's going to have sex with every MILF in Canada pretty soon, won the election.
The thing is, there was another way to play that off. Like, Trump has butted heads with, like, he's thrown jabs at Bukele. He's thrown jabs at Milei in Argentina. He's thrown jabs at Orban a little bit. He's always brushing egos with other national populists because he wants to be the number one nationalist populist
because
in the world.
He's radically narcissistic, which I say that not as a slight. I think it's kind of interesting and charming in some ways.
Yeah.
But I've never seen anybody as what is it, like, obsessed with flattering himself. I mean, it's really I've known a few people like in Hollywood who are like that, who just clearly at every turn, every part of the conversation was about making them look like the hero or the best person or whatever.
You're talking about real estate agents?
No, like Hollywood producers. But Trump is just amazing. I just find it funny. Like, liberals get offended by it and upset. I think it's amazing. It's like every other sentence is, oh, but that war wouldn't have happened if I had been in the president, or we did the greatest thing, or what I did was the best thing, or what I will. Anyway, you were saying, sorry.
Yeah. But
I have bad TDS. I have like latent onset TDS. It took 8 years to set in. I was like, amazing. I was like, fuck Rachel Maddow. There's no Russiagate, which still I do believe. Like, and like, I was like, stop it, you TDS freaks. Every turn, I was like, he's not so bad. He's not going to lock all the gays up in concentration camps, which was true. He's going to lock other people up in concentration camps, but just not the gays. But, I was like deflecting, as I said, J6. I was into the 2020 election thing. Clearly, they stole the shit in various ways, not just like literally moving ballots from box to box, which I do think happened, but mostly like culturally, through control of the cultural institutions. They absolutely fixed that election. Hunter Biden laptop, yada, yada, yada. I've been on record. Go look at my
color
Twitter.
Revolution in the streets in 2020.
So I think I should be allowed to trash this fuck as he is doing everything that if you have any kind of left wing or libertarian impulses whatsoever, it's anathema. And we haven't even talked about this shit with Kilmar Obrego Garcia. And to me, this moment with his interview, the ABC interview with Terry Moran that Trump did, I think on Tuesday, or they released it yesterday on Tuesday. To me, that was it. That was the final straw. I'm like, oh no, this dude must be eliminated. Donald Trump. I don't mean killed. I mean like eliminated as president, like removed from office. It really, like, man, he actually thought that Kilmer Obrego Garcia had the letters MS-13 tattooed onto his knuckles, when everybody by that point knew totally that those were photoshopped onto his knuckles to maybe show that the other tattoos represented MS-13. Trump thought that those were actually on his knuckles. And he said, and he doubled down. And Terry Moran was like, no, let's move on to Ukraine.
He always doubles down.
He's like, no, Terry. He has the letters MS-13 on his knuckles. And it's like, Trump, everybody in the world except you knows that was photoshopped by Stephen Miller, who wants to lock up all illegal immigrants in a dungeon because he hates illegal immigrants? Or is it that he hates certain types of other people?
Again,
I just don't see any other reason. Why would you want to put that man in CCOT? Why would you want to put a gay hairdresser from Houston in CCOT? Why would you want to put, they just did this today. This is a new one. This is just today. They put the father in CCOT, Venezuelan immigrant father, said he's Tren de Aragua. They won't produce any evidence. His family has said, his lawyers have said, please show us the evidence. The CBS News, ABC News, and NBC all said to DHS, can you show us the evidence? And DHS said, nope, we're not going to show you any evidence. He is in CCOT prison doing forced manual labor as we speak. His wife, unfortunately, is from another country. Oh, she got sent to Venezuela. And then they had a 2-year-old daughter who is now in foster care in the United States. What? And there's no evidence for anything. They said she was like a pimp. She was doing the sex trade operation for Tren de Aragua. Okay, show us the evidence. The family said this. It's on all the networks today. And they had a toddler child who is now in foster care. Like, this is, if you don't like the state, if you don't like the government having arbitrary power to do things to your body and your family and the people you love, if it just doesn't feel good when the state has that kind of power, this is a 5-alarm fire. Like, I'm sorry, Trump has lost all of his charm. And it's been one case after another, and it doesn't matter. Even if every single one of these people was some horrendous gangster, which I really doubt, but even if they were, we have to have due process. We can't allow the government to do this, because guess what happens, right? We know this, right? When the government doesn't feel constrained by due process rights, we know what governments do, and we simply don't want to live in that kind of society, do we? I think it's all a social construct. I think the Bill of Rights is a social construct. The First Amendment is a social construct. I really like those social constructs. The world is made of social constructs. For those who think postmodernists are nihilists. No, I get it. Everything's a social construct. Yeah, Foucault and I think that. And he and I were also like, we really like social constructs in which people don't get thrown into prison. For no reason. Anyway.
It's hard.
I'm pissed, man. I'm sorry that we have a family squabble here. The chat will intervene, but like, dude, this is not cool. In the 3 years of this show, like, this is the first time where I have felt this way. Not about you, but about like politics that you're closer to. Like, so I don't know. What do we do?
I think Trump is at this moment, it's still going to help him electorally. I think the problem is it's going to help Democrats fundraise from elites because they get scared.
Have you seen the polls?
I don't necessarily try. I mean, the same polls that said Kamala's going to win Iowa now say that the walls are closing in on Trump. But
no.
Also, the only people, I mean, you got 100-day polls. I'm not surprised that initial enthusiasm has come back to like general anti-Trump sentiment. I don't really, it's easy to, but the thing is, most people interpreting this, like what you were saying about the interview, you were talking about the interview at first, where he says it's MS-13. Trump does the same thing he always does. He's he's directionally correct. This person is a gang member. This person is like there are.
How the fuck do you know that?
There's a ton of evidence being released about the Garcia case in particular that shows that
What?
Yeah.
What?
Like
What?
Yeah, there's the letters from this woman's ex-husband saying, I don't like that my kids are with him because this guy's a violent gang member. He has gang ties.
Yeah, you think that letter is really credible. I can think of a couple of reasons why it might not be credible. Hello?
Okay.
The boyfriend talking about the ex-husband.
Mm-hmm.
Hello? I mean, this is a document that's been fed through ICE and given to us from ICE, from this guy who's was the current boyfriend writing about the ex-husband. Have you ever been the boyfriend of a person who had an ex?
Yeah.
And how have you thought about the guy? And what have you wanted to say about the guy?
Nah, it's he's
a great dad.
No,
he was a great husband, and he should be treated with great civility. No, you're like, fucking lock this dude up and kill his ass. Mm-hmm. Come on.
She also filed restraining orders against him, had domestic violence.
So what?
Disputes on him.
That makes him a gang member? Like, we don't know. Again, we don't know, Michael, because he never went through the process.
The wife herself, I mean,
no, he didn't.
Okay.
No, look, he didn't.
All right. The wife herself is covering up on social media posts pictures of the hands to cover the tattoos.
How do you know that?
I mean, it's kind of. I'm just saying this is what it looks like.
And what was she covering up? We've now seen exactly what's on his hand. What do you see? I see a weed leaf. I can't believe all these. Man,
look.
I see a weed leaf, a smiley face, a cross, and a skull. And I'm supposed to believe that's how MS-13 represents. Are you joking? MS-13 puts MS-13 on their heads.
I'm just telling you how most Americans are going to see this.
They famously do that. That's what they're famous for doing.
They
put it on their cheeks, on their eyelids, literally on their lips. MS-13. They put billboards saying MS-13 all over their fucking bodies. And this guy's like, oh no, I'm gonna do like real slick because I'm gonna do like a code with all these things that don't even mean MS-13. Well, you got a skull. People are going to figure that. They'll know. That's what skull means. 3. Everybody knows a skull means 3. Come on now.
Yeah.
Let's get real, bro.
Again, most Americans are not going to have sympathy for this guy. Most people who voted for Donald Trump, they're not. Like, I mean, they might get a little scared of the prisons themselves, but
again, deporting him is one thing, right? Yeah. If they had just put him on a plane and dropped him off at San Salvador airport, okay, like I'm still against it, but like I'm not mad about it, and I get it. Like according to the law, sure, yeah, I get it. Where in the law does it say we deport illegal aliens into maximum security forced labor prison camps in other countries?
Well,
where does it say that?
I know.
And why do we want? Why is that cool?
Labor? Then you look into the forced labor prison camps, and you find out that they're wildly successful, and you find out that and that the leader who proposed them is the most popular leader in the world. Like,
there's a solid chance that between World Wars I and II. Don't you have some Italian? You're also Italian, right?
Yeah.
So I think there's a solid chance between World Wars I and II. I need to look into this, but I bet this happened. That there were German and Italian nationals, I guess, who were migrants to the U.S.
Oh, there were certainly German nationals
who were put into I know this.
Yeah.
Who were put into prisons in foreign countries. I wouldn't be surprised. I know they were put into prisons here, then into concentration camps, as were the Japanese in World War I. I mean, Germans and Italians, some Germans and Italians that happened to, but I wouldn't be surprised if there was. I'm sure there were in World Wars I and II moments where the U.S. had to sort of stick some German and Italian nationals who were American residents in basically dungeons in some foreign country. Like, I would imagine, man. Like, again, it's not like, where's your Christian humanity? Also, like, I'm trying to appeal to self-interest, but like, I thought you were a Christian. Like, where's?
What I'm against is like the state is always going to be the state. What I'm against is the unique amount of emotional manipulation that is happening on this immigration issue, and that like there are millions and millions of tragedies happening every day, all the time, to emotionally manipulate people constantly. And what I am for is the United States. I mean, again,
this better be good. This
yeah.
better be good.
But
because you're sounding like a Zionist, I must say. Go ahead.
Zionist.
You're like the whole world is all these problems, but you would just focus on us all the time. Why you always focus on Israel? You must hate Jews.
This is your anti-Semitism coming out. Your progressive, anti-Italian, and anti-Jewish bias.
I fucking hate all of them, as we all know. I fucking hate Jews, Italians. What was the other one? Germans and Irish. God, I hate those people. And gays, did I mention them? Fucking hate them. I wrote several chapters about how much I hate those people in my book, A Renegade History of the United States, available from the Free Press, Simon & Schuster on Amazon for $10.99.
Mass immigration is not popular anywhere. It's not popular. It's only popular amongst wealthy, elite, hyper-educated, Western educated, industrial, rational, democratic people, the most of the most. And, from 1965 on, if you were to, like Ted Kennedy said, we're not going to change the racial makeup of the United States with our immigration policy. That didn't happen. Like, the democratic will of the people has been pretty anti-immigration pretty consistently. Obama, Clinton, the way the Democrats used to talk about immigration when they were courting the white working class, it was anti-immigration. Trump got elected because of the immigration issue, both times. Like that's what.
Yeah. One of the main, I'd say, like one of the three main issues for sure. Yeah. Yep. Okay. Yep. Because they're all idiots. Seriously. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Again, the contract of being a citizen ceases to mean anything if the entire world can come across and be naturalized. If tens of millions of people can come across the border and then be given amnesty a couple years later. And so you have an asymmetrical distribution of justice happening where tens of millions of people can come in, get the benefits of citizenship, get counted to the census. One crime, even if they hypothetically commit crimes at a lower level than United States citizens, any crime, even if they commit one, is one too many, because they have no right to be here. Crossing the border is a crime in and of itself.
Sure.
There's about 10 extra Democratic representatives because of how the census counts illegal immigrants.
Sure. Yeah. Yep.
But mostly the working class concerns are housing and jobs. The labor market gets undercut and cost of housing goes up. And any dollar spent by the federal budget to them or their state budget is a dollar that shouldn't be spent. And so how can you have this where one administration can let in tens of millions of people? No, here's what I'm saying.
Go ahead.
Tens of millions of people against the will of the people. How can one administration let in tens of millions of people? Like Kamala Harris had to pretend that she would be tough on the border because letting in tens of millions of people is incredibly unpopular. Open borders are incredibly unpopular. Always have been. How can one administration let in tens of millions of people, completely undermine the democratic process, completely undermine the whole social contract. And then the next administration can't get rid of those people. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and then every Democratic administration is going to let in tens of millions of more people. It's going to change. The effects of that are going to happen. They're going to be baked into the cake. And we're going to be crying about this forever. Like,
yeah.
Rights, I'm not for,
No, these illegal immigrants, man. Boy, it's just, they've made my life so hard. Really have done tremendous damage to my quality of life, right? I mean, that's, just for a long time, my quality of life has just been degraded every day by these illegal immigrants. It just,
for people who
I think, let me just tell you today, this is weird.
Like blue collar labor and people who are concerned with buying houses.
Blue collar labor.
Buying houses
illegal,
and starting families.
No, illegal immigrants don't do blue collar labor if you mean like the trades, because those have been dominated and controlled by the cartel known as the labor union. So the carpenters union, they don't let fucking illegal immigrants in. You go through the apprenticeship program, you better be an American citizen, bro, from the jump. And even then, it's impossible to get a fucking carpenter job in most cases. All of them. IBEW, all the unions, all the trades unions, fuck illegal immigrants. No, it's all for American citizens. So let me tell you about my experience with illegal immigrants today. So I took a walk today, left the house, walked through the housing subdivision complex, whatever you want to call it here. And they were blowing leaves and trimming bushes and trimming trees and getting rid of all the detritus from the spring. And it's beautiful here as a consequence. So I'm like, the landscaping where I live is pretty. Okay, that's number one thing that illegal immigrants have done. And then I walked down the street. I'm not making this up. And I went to the taco truck. It's about a half a mile away. Took a nice walk to the taco truck. And
look,
dude, no, you have no idea. Like the verde salsa is like so dope. And
yummy food and cheap labor. That's all you're offering. Like, and
the carnitas.
White people can cook.
Serious?
I'm sick of this.
Wait, and
like,
the best. I'm saying these were illegal immigrants. Oh, the roof that they were putting, as I mentioned earlier, this was on top of a Starbucks, by the way, which I frequent. And so I'm glad the Starbucks is a nice new with a terracotta tile. It's like 7 dudes. As I said, I'm sure they're all illegals, right? It's in my neighborhood. I want the Starbucks to have a nice roof. And so I come back with this carnitas. Dude, have you ever had carnitas, like good, like illegal immigrant carnitas? Have you ever had like illegals make your food for you? Like it's so good.
No, I don't import slave labor to make my food. Yeah.
No, they don't get paid.
I do like slavery, but
sure. No, that's why they crawl through tunnels to get under the border. So they come here to work for no money. Right. No, I know. They're like, oh, hell yeah. People are always doing that. Emigrating to get slave jobs. They love that shit. No, they don't get any money at all. They get paid nothing.
Here's the thing. Here's the optics. I'm talking about American citizens. Like, what is this also asymmetrical?
Have you ever been to a restaurant? Like, sorry.
I'm talking about this asymmetrical concern also that is looking awful. I want to play the impeachment video because this might sort of show how this plays.
I'm sorry, man. Every racist's favorite video. Like, why is this relevant? I've noticed this.
Look,
sorry.
Well, I mean, it's just.
I meant that as a compliment.
I know it seems like Jimmy Fallon was hired by the Democrats to incite racial hatred.
I didn't know this guy existed
in the United States.
I didn't know he existed. I didn't know this dude existed. This shit's embarrassing. The Democrats should kick him out of the party. It's really funny. It looks like it's not. It's Fred Armisen. It's a Fred Armisen skit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, Jimmy Fallon has done blackface before, and I think he'd revive it for the right amount of money.
Let's play Shri.
Okay.
Shri Avalagalaban. That was so racist. Look what I just did.
But
I love Indians. I live with an Indian woman, so you can fuck right off, everybody.
But it's about the concern and about the feeling of sovereignty and about how our elected officials support the interests of citizens versus non-citizens. So, yeah, this is the impeachment video
from Shri
where
I speak Hindi pretty fluently because I'm dating one.
And he is citing the Abrejo case first and foremost, the Garcia case.
He can be right about one thing. He can be right about one thing.
He's citing the Garcia case as
he's right about this. About everything else, he's terrible. But
he's citing that case specifically as the reason to impeach Donald Trump. So here we have it. Okay. And I did believe this was Jimmy Fallon in blackface when I first saw it, but
this is Congressman Shri Thanedar. Donald Trump has already.
Okay, just imagine, just put yourself in a place of one of the 87 million people who voted for Donald Trump, who wanted some sort of like sovereignty and wanted some representation and thought, hey, foreigners might be influencing what's happening in the United States too much. And then you see this pop up.
It done real damage to our democracy, but defying a unanimous 9-0 Supreme Court ruling, that has to be the final straw. It's time we impeach Donald J. Trump. The court said the wrongfully deported Kilmer Garcia must be allowed to return and receive due process. Trump ignored it. He ignored the Constitution. He ignored the very checks and balances that keep our democracy intact. This isn't an isolated incident. It's part of a dangerous, deliberate pattern. That's why today I introduced a resolution to impeach Donald Trump, outlining 7 articles of impeachment. Article 1.
Yeah, Article 1.
Abuse of executive power, from denying process to unlawful deportations. Trump defied court orders.
Okay.
So everything I just said about immigration, I take it back.
Yeah. So
I take it back. I want to go hard on the H-1B1 fucking people like this guy.
H-1B visas. Yeah.
We need to get rid of all of them immediately. Him, then Vivek, and then all the rest of the Indians.
Most people are going to look at Garcia and
because you know why? Because I hate doctors, dude. I hate doctors and I hate software engineers who like make applications, on your phone. Mm-hmm. The people who make the app. I hate those people. Get them out of our country. Those doctors and those app developers. Oh, and the curry makers. We have this incredible Indian restaurant down the road. Get rid of that shit. Sorry, go ahead.
So, Donald Trump elected popular vote on the issue of immigration. Here you have somebody with a heavy foreign accent listing out articles of impeachment because
he's not Muslim. He's not Muslim.
I know.
He's not Mexican. Go ahead.
The H-1B visa, that issue blew up over Christmas in MAGA world. And this representative was actually pushing H-1B visas at the time.
I bet he was.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh-huh. I'm glad he's here. I'm glad he's here. I'm not glad he's in Congress, but I'm glad he's here. Didn't he have some big ass company that he cured cancer or something?
He had a pharmaceutical company that did pharmaceutical research on animals. Did you know the story?
Did he kill a bunch of dogs and stuff?
He killed a bunch of very cute beagles and monkeys.
But were they did they have distemper though? The dogs? Did they
distemper? There were beagles. I think beagles.
Well, I mean, there's beagles who were but there's beagles who were nice and friendly, and there's beagles who were kind of bitches. Like, which kind of beagle was it?
There are annoying beagles, but they aren't pit bulls.
Thank you.
They're
pit bull. Okay. So what you're saying about Indian people is what exactly here? What's the
It's my same critique of
Indians
Vivek
and dogs.
Ramaswamy, is that he has a history of being in
Killing
the pharmaceutical industry. Well, of scamming in the pharmaceutical industry. Yeah. And
no, that was awesome. No, I didn't know shit about Vivek until you dropped that on us. Like that was like a year ago. You were ahead of everybody. I was like, wait, what? And I looked it up. I was like, oh my God, he's a scumbag. Get these Indians out of this country.
Yeah,
so that was effective.
Mm-hmm. And it seemed like he was pumping and
true.
jumping.
He is but Michael, I'm joking. But no, you were totally right. There was a pump and dump. There was a bunch of really shady shit that Vivek has done, right?
Yeah, and it seems like he was pumping and dumping Trump in the same way, sort of amplifying the populist message to catapult his own career when he knew that the thing wouldn't actually work out. And he was kind of trying to undermine Trump and saying, there's no way they'll ever allow Trump to be elected. So I'm really the only voice that you have. It was a very schemy, undermining way of going after Trump. The way he tried to wedge himself into DOGE and the H-1B thing sort of showed that pattern of behavior again.
I just want to say, like, this show is by far, we are on the front edge of the anti-Hindu movement. We have been calling out the Hindus for a while now and their malign influence on American politics and culture. I'm 50% ironic there. It's something to keep your eye on because, again, it's Brahmin upper class Indian culture, and I do have a little bit of insight into that, given my own personal situation. But yeah, no, it's a thing. But Vivek is part of that. This is partly because the Modi movement, the Hindu nationalist movement in India, has been part of its thing, has been pro-Israel and kill the Arabs in Palestine. That's part of it. Because all I can think about is the Jews. I can just only think about the Jews. I'm just obsessed with the Jews. But yeah.
Well, Indian politics are funny because you'll find people there who both love Israel and love Hitler because Hitler was anti-Churchill, and so.
But he stole their symbol.
Yeah.
That's what really pisses them off. It's like, well, no, the swastika's ours. God damn it.
Yeah.
Churchill.
But yeah.
Go ahead.
There's a lot of heavy anti-Churchill sentiment still in India.
How many Indians did he kill?
Starvation.
2 million, 5 million, 10 million. It was in the millions. It was quite something. And he did it more than once. He starved Indians deliberately more than once and killed like millions at a time, which was cool. Like, that was cool. Like, you know what? Getting rid of that many Browns at once is sweet. You know, Churchill was great. He was our greatest world leader of the 20th century. And if you don't believe that, you're an idiot.
Mm-hmm.
He did great things for the Indian people.
Yeah.
They needed to lose weight. Then they were a little bit, they're getting a little pudgy back there in the 19th century. He was like, bitches, eat less rice. Poof. And they did. And they got real skinny real fast. It was good.
I'm not advocating for any policies necessarily, but I'm just telling you how this plays to the American public.
Forced starvation of the Browns, like what Israel is doing now in Gaza, you know? Not a single scrap of food has gotten into Gaza in 6 weeks now, by the way, or medicine. Sweet. I love that shit. Just thin the Browns, man. Thin them out. Thin the Browns. Go ahead.
So as Trump is potentially losing popularity as reality sort of sets in, I think it's being much exaggerated. I think the media, and I think it's largely generated by the media, and the media is never giving him a fair shake, and reporting is still 92% negative, no matter what. It's always going to be that way. But this is what congressional Democrats do. And the only thing with a lower approval rating than Trump will be congressional Democrats. And they are in crisis, and they're doubling down on the optics that lost them middle America. Having foreigners tell you that your vote doesn't count. It's only been 100 days, but we're going to kick him out because he's not treating illegal immigrants who most Americans would look at and consider to be criminals based off of the evidence presented to them. because
killing me.
yeah, that's just, again, the calculated move that Trump made with
Killing
his
me.
immigration policy was going after criminals first.
It's
And
killing me.
most evidence lies with that right now.
Well, I'm sorry. What was that?
Yeah,
Evident. Where does the evidence lie? Where?
especially for Garcia. Like, it seems, yeah, the facts, there's, the Justice Department has released
Did I
several
not
documents.
send your vapes in time?
Every
Did you
time.
not get the weed this month? Like, what's wrong with? What are you talking about?
Mhm.
You're having like a cognitive breakdown.
Yeah,
I've never seen this in you.
it's
Like basic facts, like epistemological, the order. Like, I don't. Are you okay?
He's denying objective reality, so he's crazy. Ooh, that old
Did you hit your
trick.
head?
That old trick.
Did you bang your little head on something?
Yeah.
What's going on there? Dude, no. Are you fucking kidding me? No. God damn it. This has been a complete violation of due process. And I have no idea to this day if dude is even like illegal in any way. There's been zero document.
No, they've had deportation orders. They
They
published
told
those.
you.
No,
What?
I've read the documents. They published
He had
the
deportation orders, yet
Yeah.
amazingly, they kept saying to him, "Oh, you can stay." Hello.
No,
he had a hearing. He had an ICE hearing every year for 5 years, 6 years in a row. We covered this last week, Michael. And every single time they let him go. Am I wrong about that?
Again, that was under the criminal Biden administration. That was under.
Okay, I'm not wrong about that.
I'm
Dude,
but
have you not heard that ICE,
Mhm.
because they didn't have enough agents to do Tom Homan's insane 20 million person roundup, they've been deputizing people around the country. And so that's why you're seeing these videos of dudes with like ponytails and beards and fucking balaclavas on, just rounding up people off the streets and getting into fist fights with people on the streets because they forgot to bring their ID and they have no warrant. Yeah, no, this shit is, no. It's not fascism, by the way. This is not fascism.
It's democracy.
That's an injustice to, okay. Yeah. Yes. I'm not a fan of democracy. You're completely right. Do many or most people want this? Sure. Clearly. Yes, I get it. I don't think it's a majority, but enough. A plurality for sure. Yes. Yeah. Right. This is a problem with democracy. I think you'd have a more orderly society and less roundup vanning people on the street in a monarchy. There you go, Curtis Yarvin.
The numbers are 65,000 for deportations. Those are rookie numbers.
Wow.
Those are Biden numbers.
Obama was like kicking ass on this shit. Yeah. Okay.
And so
really, it's only
really
that's the number. Oh wow.
That's
okay.
the 100
Good.
days. That's the 100 days numbers that we've got.
Good, because I really like the landscaping and I love my tacos.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I forgot this part. I was telling my story about my day with illegal immigrants. So landscaping, beautiful roof being constructed over the Starbucks, and then I get these incredible tacos, carnitas with salsa verde, dude. Oh my shit, fucking god. Homemade tacos. I mean, mama's in there with the taco press doing it in the thing, and then the sons are putting it together, and the daughter's doing the cashier, and like they're all illegals, don't speak any English. And my god, that taco is incredible. The caramelization on the edges of the carnitas, the pork, holy fuck. Illegal food. And then as I said, I walked home. Should have got a Mexican Coke as an act of protest, but I didn't. Walked home, ate the taco, was in heaven. And you know what happened? That whole time, that whole trip, that whole journey through illegal immigrant world in America, no one killed me. No one robbed me. No one stole my identity. No one took my car. Nothing. They left me alone. They just sold me things. It was weird. Illegal immigrants just tend to really only almost entirely do that. Almost entirely do that. This is so insane. I can't even believe it. Like, fucking MAGA, tell me what's happened to you from illegal immigrants. What have illegal immigrants done to you?
Here's the thing, though. How can you defend the MAGA movement for 8 years and then turn as soon as they accomplish the one thing they've not even accomplish, as soon as they make baby steps towards the one goal that they've explicitly had that's been the central message to the whole movement the entire time.
I've never liked that part of it. It's not like I admired.
Central. It's been, and beggars can't be choosers, in my opinion. Like, they saved the world. Fair question.
No, you're right. No, I mean, he's been totally promising this for 10 years. No, I get it. And I've always been opposed to it. It's one of the things I don't like about his shit. He has also promised the tariffs from get-go, and I've always thought that was retarded, and it is. And by the way, we haven't talked about this. Let's do this quickly. My parting shot. But people, come on. Like, you guys don't believe in the tariffs, do you? Anyway, so the Port of Los Angeles today announced, the head of the Port of Los Angeles announced today, and then there's videos and multiple stories showing it, that they're not taking any cargo from China. Meaning none's coming. It stopped today, yesterday. So for multiple weeks, because people knew the tariffs were coming, there's been this huge spike in imports, right? They've been trying to get as many goods in here as fast as they can before the tariffs took effect. And I guess the tariffs took effect yesterday or today. And there's videos. Everybody go look it up. Port of Los Angeles, tariffs. There are no ships. There are no ships in the Port of Los Angeles today.
I've seen some people analyzing satellite images and whatnot and seeing the same thing.
Yeah. And so this is the Port of Los Angeles, the head of the Port of Los Angeles telling us this. This is not like I forget. I posted it on Twitter. I forget which network, CNBC, I think, one of them. He just came on and said, oh yeah, there will be no ships tomorrow. And there will be no ships for the next 5 weeks at least. So we have inventory. He says, this is just from him, all the retail stores basically will have full inventory, so they're fine for 5 weeks. So around Memorial Day, you probably will not be able to buy things. Like most things. Like most of the things you normally buy at Target, on Etsy, at Costco, you won't be able to buy. Or you'll buy one of them because it'll be 10 times more expensive. Anyway, this is a fucking catastrophe. And this guy is very stupid. And he is far more authoritarian than I thought. And it is horrible to say this, but liberals have been right about a lot about Trump. And I didn't take it seriously. Not everything, but a lot. And you know what? I'm watching Bill Kristol today, and I'm nodding my head when I watch Bill Kristol talk about Donald Trump. And I watch MSNBC, and I nod my head when they're talking about Donald Trump. Yeah, I'm watching liberals now, man. I watch The Bulwark, and most of the time I agree with them, and that is terrifying. These are neocon establishment scumbags who I have spent most of my life and career fighting tooth and nail every chance I get. And now I'm agreeing with them. The New York Times. Yep. Correct about Trump. Yep. This shit is a catastrophe. It's a nightmare for anybody interested in freedom. And it's doing almost no good. I'm glad he took down USAID, but he did so for exactly the wrong reason. Because they're gay. No critique of empire, no critique of imperialism, no critique of imposing our values and cultures on other countries. It was just, they're gay. Drag queens, you fucking retards from Houston suburbs. Sorry. I take that back. I meant Dallas suburbs. It's ridiculous. No, it's not good, man. The only good thing is they're going to fall apart. I think this administration has no hope. Do you think they're going to last 4 years? like as in their current form? In any way? Like, do you think this is going to continue for 4 years?
Well, the Democrats have already blown their. Well, I mean, we'll see. We'll see. I mean, again, this is just sounding like 2016 all over again, and he had the greatest comeback in political history since Richard Nixon. And the Democrats are always dumber. They're always going lower. Cory Booker
Oh,
is
yeah.
talking for 24 hours, and
Oh yeah.
they're doing.
yeah.
I think all this
Oh yeah.
defense of Garcia plays horribly to most of the nation. I think most Americans see this
That's
as somebody
true.
we
No,
don't
no.
want. Yeah, I think most people looking at this see this as, why is all this political energy being expended on somebody who is most likely a criminal, somebody that most people
I
would
honest to
agree- yeah.
God, I swear to God, like I hate MS-13.
Mhm.
Okay, they're also almost an entirely American product. I'm going to write about this soon, but I hate them. My God, they are truly like the ISIS of domestic terrorists. Like they're horrific. But I still, to this day, have not seen, honestly, anything that's convinced me that dude is a member of MS-13. I haven't. Nothing. I really haven't. And if I did, I would be fine probably with him being in CCOT, or certainly deported. No doubt I'd be fine with him being deported. I haven't. I just haven't. I've seen a lot of dudes who are in CCOT who have MS-13 tattooed on their foreheads. And those guys, I'm like, yeah, you probably should be in CCOT, or at least, locked away somewhere. But I haven't seen anything like that, except that he's a day laborer at Home Depot. For fuck's sake. Like carrying bricks around. We want fewer guys who are willing to carry bricks around during the day for a living. Really?
Again, this sounds like coastal elites defending cheap labor and cheap crap from China.
But that benefits all of us. Who do you think shops at Walmart? Not the coastal elite. They hate Walmart. No, it's the poor and the working class who shop at Walmart and benefit from cheap goods produced in China. What? Target too. Costco too. Yeah, no, the working class shops at those places. The salt of the fucking earth, the poor, the working class, I know very well. No, they have, and they can afford to live nicely, materially, better than almost everyone in the rest of the world because that shit's cheap from China. Yeah. Black people and brown people and working class people and Uber drivers. And yeah, you know this. That's who shops at Target and Walmart and where the Chinese goods are sold. The fuck? Milton Friedman, where are you?
Most of the MAGA base that is from this working class background is on board with this agenda and is explicitly saying, I understand we're going to have some short-term pain.
Less and less.
But I'm here for it.
Less and less. I mean, if that were true, then sure. I mean, if you want to like drive yourself into a brick wall, fine, working class. But no, we're seeing this. You've seen the polls, right? He has the lowest approval rating of any president ever, basically. Like, and his own base, his own voters are fleeing. It's not good. When the economy tanks, no one likes the president, no matter what. It's the worst thing, and it's going to get real bad, dude. I'm telling you, everybody, Memorial Day, by then, you need to shop. You need to buy everything you can. You need to hoard for the next 5 weeks, because after Memorial Day, life is going to be different unless Trump lifts the stupid fucking sanctions on China, which are what, 145%, meaning it's 1,000, it's 1,000,000%, it's an infinity percent, meaning it's just a complete embargo. In fact, didn't Bessent say this? The Treasury Secretary, I think one of the Trump idiots said, this is effectively an embargo. Chinese goods, really? Look around your house, guys. Look and tell me what is not made in China, or what doesn't have something that was made in China in it. Something, I mean, almost everything in your goddamn house has something in it that was made in China. And we're now embargoing that, like cutting off everything. In 5 weeks, there will be nothing from China coming into this country. And we really think that's just going to be cool. And by the way, China's just going to succumb to us and just say, oh yeah, sure, we'll do whatever Trump says. I'm sorry, we'll lower our tariff rates and da-da-da. Oh, are you kidding me? That's a pretty big ass goddamn economy that's growing leaps and bounds. They're also giving every signal that they could give a fuck, by the way. Xi Jinping ever since has been like, oh yeah, we're going to tariff you back. Now what, bitch? And Trump then says 145. He's like, yeah, more tariffs on you. We don't care because we're here to stay. Because China plays the 100-year game. They have a long-term view of time that's different than ours. It's anyway.
Well, I think this is the first administration that had a long-term view of time that is explicitly saying we're going to have short-term pain to reverse trends that have been going against the interests of Americans for a long time.
Okay.
And this is something that I think only happened because Trump is in his second term. No matter what jokes he makes, he knows he's not getting a third. Okay. And yeah, he's trying to do as much dramatic action as he possibly can with the limited time that he has to reverse decades of globalist free trade, open borders policies. And the idea is if it doesn't get accomplished now, there may never be a chance. There may never be a chance to bring manufacturing back. There may never be a chance to undo the tens of millions of people brought in and have some semblance of citizenship and do things that have been wildly democratically popular, but for some reason, big business has demanded that we have cheap crap from China and cheap labor from South America. And
it's not just big business who's demanded it. The American working class has demanded it. So that's
by their
fair
consuming
points,
habits, but not by their voting habits.
Listen, dude, listen. Okay. So I think that you really shouldn't, no one, not you, just you, this is not about you, but no one should comment on this until you have had homemade tortilla with carnitas and salsa verde and chopped cilantro. Just that. If you eat that, you will be for immigration and you will vote against Trump and you will be happier because you'll be eating the most delicious thing that's going to cost you $2 served by a super illegal immigrant who speaks no fucking English. All right, man. It's because you live in Indiana. You don't have good tacos there.
We have better food than you could ever imagine in the slums.
You would understand. Okay. You would understand if you hit a taco truck. Yeah. I'm just saying. I bet I've
been to plenty of taco trucks all around this fine, beautiful country.
I know.
And I don't think you need illegal labor to produce food.
Yummy. You think people named Weimer are going to make my tacos with my fucking salsa verde? You think that's going to happen? Maybe eventually. It's called reverse assimilation. The German kids learn to make Mexican food. It always happens. All right. So we got to go.
Yeah.
Party. I can't wait. I got to go party. And you're invited. That's like a rape van thing to say, right? Isn't it? Like go to patreon.com/unregistered. We go to, okay, I'm just saying. After this, we go to the after show. The after show after every Unreported. It's the highlight of my week. I'm trying to get there as soon as I can. If you want to join us, just become a patron of this show, of Unregistered, the unregistered empire of which this is a part. Go to patreon.com/unregistered. Become a patron at any level, and you get access to the after show. Every Wednesday night, we hang out, we talk, but listen, and it's super fun. And I really look forward to this, and it's like really fun. But anyway, but if you don't want to do that, you can also be completely anonymous. You don't have to show your face or your name. You can just come watch, hang out. But if you don't give a shit about that, you should support us anyway, because we need a new pair of shoes. Quite literally, my shoes have just worn out, the soles, so I need help. So if you could go to patreon.com/unregistered and become a patron at any level, we would appreciate this. And also, we will continue to make this show that you need. You know you need it. You know you think about it during the day. You know you tell your spouse about it. You know you do. So if any of that's true at all, go to patreon.com/unregistered and become a patron of Michael Weimer's media empire. even though he's wrong about things, he needs support. So do that for us. All right. We're out. Michael, you fucking crush, dude.
It's
I mean, for someone who's wrong, like you fucking crush. Like you do.
Yeah.
True.
For somebody who can barely breathe in between personal invectives and and racial arguments. I've never made a racialist argument ever once on here.
You're not a racist. Michael is not a racist. He's a racialist. Is it
No,
very different? No, I'm the fucking racialist.
Yeah. Oh, dude, this is
obsessed
what I
with that
wanted
shit.
to talk about. Yeah. Well, no, it's.
Is this a
maybe
French?
we can
Is
get
this
to
a
this-
French goodbye or a German?
No,
Italian
maybe,
goodbye?
yeah. But
Okay.
maybe we can get to this next week. But I want to talk about radical egalitarianism, and we got
Ooh.
close to it on the after show last week. We got close to it.
We did
with a certain San Francisco, Indiana connection that we might talk about in the after show now.
We did. It's true.
Yeah. Yeah.
Radical egalitarianism. Yeah. So if you want to have that discussion,
Yeah. It's
become a patron. Go to patreon.com/unregistered. No, really. God damn it. Help us out. We're doing this for you. This is a Christian program delivered for Christian motivation, right, Michael? We're doing this for hello. I'm doing this for the people. What are you doing it for? You're not doing it for yourself, right? This is for you, everybody, the audience.
I'm definitely not doing it for myself.
That's obvious. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
all right, we're out.
We're out.
Hope you.
Peace.
We're
Bye.
15